Hi everyone. I hope you are all doing okay in the middle of these crazy times that we've got here. At the minute we're kind of locked down, so I suppose it's inspired me to try and do some more videos and stuff like that of the cool things that I'm trying to get up to. So the latest one, obviously, I'm sure if you guys have been following on the Nation, there's going to be some pretty fast Draks being built over the next little while. I'm fairly sure it's going to start getting competitive at some point, but I'm going to try and be as open as I can about everything that I'm getting up to, and yeah, hopefully inspire more people to get on the case and try and challenge Mike Stevens's record for the 10 mile challenge and stuff like that, which is definitely that is no mean feat. It is that's pretty serious what he was getting up to. So yeah, hopefully I can give that a challenge whenever I've got this Drak all rebuilt again. So yeah, the first piece of this puzzle was finding an ESC that was going to be up to the job. I know whenever you look at a 12S or 14S ESC, the price of them does start to get a bit crazy. So I've never really been a fan of using quad ESCs in a plane, but I say APD have been doing a lot of testing, with these KO motors as well, and it looks like it's a pretty, well established ESC these days. And I'm sorry if I'm like playing that down. APD to me have only really come in very recently. So yeah, I bought it. It's an awesome bit of kit. It's up to 300 amp burst and 200 amp constant. You can plug in up to a 14S battery on it, so that's pretty crazy. The only thing that I've done is just add these heat sinks on each side, just to try and sap some of that heat out of it whenever this thing's going to be going full tilt. So yeah, just compared to what I've already got in here inside my Drak, say there's not a lot going on in here except for the vector and a little 10 amp back. The got GPS obviously on the side, speed sensor sunk in there, and it should have an alerter in there, but that's it's in my mini Talon at the minute. That's the ESC that I'm using at the moment. So it's a 120 amp V-Good ESC, very cheap. I think the bang for buck on these is pretty damn good, really. They're exactly the same as a Turnigy Plus 32, which I think is a pretty good ESC as well, to be honest. So so not a bad place to be, except these are like half the price of a Plus 32. So yeah, if you're looking for a fairly normal, like up to 8S ESC, I think this is up to 8S. Yeah, this is pretty good for the job. I think the only thing I've done is obviously expose the heatsink. Now, the one thing, I mean, if you guys are familiar with it, like if you take these ESCs apart, like I have, so I actually split both of the boards, and meant that I could like solder this like 10 gauge cable onto it, because this Drak does actually run quite high current most of the time, because I only really fly flat out. So I've put like obviously bigger cables on. I think I changed the cables on the battery, I think I did, but these definitely I changed because they were only like 12 gauge, so I've changed those to 10. Just check, yeah they're 10 gauge. So yeah, to do that you need to like split the ESC apart, like you have to desolder loads of pins, all that kind of stuff, and it's a bit of a job, but it's not too bad. But yeah, anyway, whenever you see inside here, there's like FETs on both sides of the board, and the ones on the underside are obviously, stuck inside here and don't get good airflow. But having said that, this ESC works absolutely fine. Like there's no problems with it running up to its 120 amp rating, and that's like constant as well. It's not just like bursting the throttle. So anyway, this obviously won't do 12S. I wouldn't dare even try and plug it in, because I think these capacitors will go pop or something will flash over on the board. So yeah, don't do that. So yeah, I've bought this APD 200. You can see just like side by side, I mean, the length of it, it's obviously about, it's like a centimeter longer, I know for sure that this board is way thicker than the one that you've got here in this one. You know, for the obvious reasons that this is carrying a lot more watts than one of these 6S ESCs. The heat sinks, I mean, each of these heat sinks is probably about the same weight as that one. And what I really like about this is that I'm going to be getting airflow on like both sides of the ESC, which is pretty cool. Just trying to maximize, you know, the heat that I can be taking out of that ESC while it's on, you know, some high speed runs. I think one thing to, you know, to always like bear in mind is that, you know, yes, whilst I am running a, you know, a 200 amp ESC, and I'm going to be running batteries that can probably deliver up to like 200 amps safely. So they're 10,000 25C 12S. I'm not going to be delivering up to like 250 amps because, well, it's just not going to be needed really. So up to 200 is fine, and I think the battery should be able to get away with that. And obviously you need to just make sure that you're getting enough airflow in around this when it's at that constant 200 to, you know, to try and sap as much heat out of it as you can, because I know that these have like, you know, automatic you know, thermal limiting on them, let's say, so and current limiting as well to save it. So yeah, anyway, one thing to bear in mind is that whenever you're doing these like long speed runs, you're not going to be running it at like 200 amps the whole way anyway. So, you know, you're going to be running, let's say, on the 10-mile challenge, perhaps like 120 amps or something like that there for the whole thing, maybe even less. I haven't done the full calculations on it, but I think it's going to be something around that. So yeah, I'll probably be running this, like, let's say, like one side above the Corex, maybe like that, and then the other side I'll be doing like a nice like 3D printed ESC air scoop, you know, to get that air flowing underneath the ESC as well, and out those little scoops on the back there, those little NACA that the Drak has built in. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing this new like bigger motor for the back of it, and obviously getting it out there and seeing what it can do. I think, like, I'm pretty excited about it, and I say thanks again to, you know, to Chris Click for letting me test them out. I'm really happy about that, and I say hopefully I can help you guys out with a pretty cool mount, and more people can get on it as well. So yeah, thanks guys. Right guys, thanks for watching episode 1. So if you're here, it means you've actually watched to the end, which is great. Thanks very much. The next episode, I forgot I was supposed to tell you what the next one was going to be about, but I promise after this it's going to be a bit more planned out. So the next one is going to be on the batteries that I'm going to be using, some like modifications that need to be made to those and why, and also some of the modifications that need to be made to the fuselage, and also maybe some more potential things that that I could look into later, depending on how like the first flights and stuff go, but we'll get to that when we come to it. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and hopefully you'll enjoy the next episode as well. Cheers.